Today's lesson is a helping hand. Hi, everybody. I'm Roger.
And I'm Hanny.
And in this month's edition of Topic Writing, we're going to talk about something called a helping hand. That's when somebody helps you do something because you're unable to do it yourself, or it's just more fun if two or more people do the thing together. So yes, indeed, it's a helping hand. And we've got an experience here in which somebody is talking about going to a new school and having difficulty adjusting to their new school life.
好，那我们这个月的主题式写作呢，要来练习撰写叙述文。我们除了叙述事件发生的经过之外呢，叙述文当中通常都会需要包含撰写这个文章的主旨或者是目的，而不是像我们写流水这样照时间顺序把一切的细节全部写下来，然后没有重点。所以你要注意，我们这个月的主题式写作，它的主题是 a helping hand。我们常常会用 give somebody a helping hand 或者是 lend somebody a helping hand 去表达说帮助某人，所以我们这边就要写一个关于你受到帮助的一个事件，然后它的影响。那这类文章因为是在描述已经发生的事情，所以我们撰写的时态通常会用过去式表达。好，那我们现在就来练习写作。那这边我们就是要去回想看看在成长过程中有没有受到别人的及时帮助，然后帮助你度过难关。那也许这个帮助是来自家人、朋友、师长，甚至是陌生人，那这些帮助可能带给我们深远影响，所以我们去挑一个事件来讲。那这时候呢，我们的作文呢，我会分成两段，第一段来描述当时所面临的困境或难关，那么第二段呢，会是去说明谁对你伸出援手，还有对你的影响。好，那我们现在就借由文章范例来带我们做一些练习吧。
Okay, here's part one. It's all about somebody moving to a new town. So it says, when I was in the 6th grade, I had to change schools and move to a different city due to my father's job. So, of course, this person was in the 6th grade. And, of course, this does happen sometimes. Your parents need to move to a different place for a job or something like that. So in this particular case, the writer had to change schools and move to a different city because his or her father got a new job, or his job had him stationed someplace else. Initially, or at the beginning, it was quite challenging. I didn't know any of my new classmates, and some of them were unkind, refusing to befriend me. So yes, it was challenging. It was kind of a difficult situation because this new kid didn't know any of the new students there, or her new classmates, or his new classmates. And of course, some of them were not very nice. They were unkind. Maybe they were bullying this person, and they were also refusing to befriend me, which means they didn't want to be friends with me.
好，那我们来看课文范例的第一段呢，它就是在描述一个事件发生，它的时空背景还有当时的处境。所以看到他就写到说，在他6年级的时候，因为父亲工作不得不转学，那搬到另外一个城市。其实这对任何人来说都是很有挑战性的到一个新环境，你不太认识任何人，那你就要去熟悉，要去适应嘛。所以课文范例这边就写到说，他不认识任何一位新同学，有些人并不友善，甚至拒绝跟他交朋友。所以这是他在描述他当时的处境、时空背景。好，那现在换我们写写看。也许我们可以写到我们可能国高中，也许你可能喜欢上某人，但是可能告白不顺利啊，或干嘛的。我们去借由这个情境来写写看。假设我们说在高一的时候，发现自己陷入一个复杂的情绪当中，也许你就是因为喜欢上某个人，然后伴随而来的那感受很强烈，那种感觉让你难以招架，无法应对。那这时候你如果没有人可以讲的话，其实会自己陷入一个情绪当中，难以自拔。那我们现在来请 Roger 老师告诉我们，换你写写看可以怎么说。
And here's how you might write it. During my first year of high school, I found myself caught in a complex web of emotions. I had developed a crush on a fellow student, and the feelings that accompanied it were overwhelming. So here we're talking about the writer entering high school. It's the writer's first year of high school. And of course, when that happens, you might be caught in a complex web of emotions. A web, of course, is what a spider makes. But of course, we talk about the World Wide Web. It's just kind of like a network or a system. And it's quite complex, okay? You don't know how to feel in certain situations. And there are a lot of those situations. And in this particular case, the writer had a crush on a fellow student. That's when a boy really likes a girl or a girl really likes a boy and they want to get together with them. And of course, that can create all sorts of emotions and feelings, and they can be overwhelming. They can be too much to handle.
好，那我们接着回到这个课文的范例，来看看说当时在那个处境时空背景下，他就是到新环境嘛，然后没有什么认识的人，那当时他是什么样的感受，受到了什么样的困难？那我们来看看课文范例。
Okay, it continues to say, I felt like a complete outsider, and this made me experience an overwhelming sense of isolation and sadness. Every day, I longed to travel back in time and return to my old school with my former classmates. So here, the writer felt like a complete outsider. They did not feel like they belonged, and this made me have an extreme sense of isolation. It was overwhelming. I didn't know what to do about this feeling. It was a sense of isolation, of being all by myself. And of course, I felt sadness. I wasn't very happy. And every day, I longed to travel back in time. I really wanted to travel back in time and return to my old school and hang out with my former classmates. We were such buddies then.
好，那我们来看看课文范例这个情境里呢，他会觉得自己好像一个完全的局外人，好像无法 fit in， 没有办法调适，那让他感到难以承受的孤独和悲伤，每天都想要渴望回到过去，因为在那个环境下你会很想要逃到过去，逃到你熟悉的环境嘛，所以他提到说渴望能够回到过去，回到以前的学校和以前的同学在一起。好，那我们现在切换到我们这个换你写写看的情境里面，刚刚说到呢，自己陷入那种复杂情绪啊，然后喜欢上别人，然后带来的那种感受是很强烈难以招架的。那我们来看看，接着我们可以继续写说，也许我们可能试着要表达自己的情感，可是却造成一些很尴尬的处境，尴尬的遭遇，那他觉得自己好像都被误解了，然后完全被孤立，好像全世界就只有自己一个人在面对这些情绪，在应付这些情绪一样，这时候会觉得很孤立的感觉。那我们请 Roger 老师告诉我们换你写写看可以怎么写。
And here's how you might write it. Unfortunately, my attempts to express my feelings only led to some awkward encounters. So this person tried to express his or her feelings, and of course things were awkward. Of course you felt really strange. You weren't really sure if you were doing the right thing. I felt totally misunderstood and isolated, as though I were the only person in the world dealing with these emotions. Yes, this can be a very difficult situation. You may feel misunderstood. Nobody understands you at all, and you can feel all by yourself or isolated. You feel alone, and it seems that I was the only person in the world who had to deal with this problem. It seemed like everybody else was perfectly fine, only I was suffering.
好，那我们接着要进入第二段来练习写作。那所以我们接着呢，看到课文范例来看看说，当时是谁向这位作者伸出援手，怎么帮助他的。好，那我们来看看范例。
Okay, here's the second part. However, one day, everything changed during a field trip when the meeting location was altered, and I missed hearing the notification. So, of course, going on a field trip means you leave the school, maybe you go to a museum or go for a hike in the mountains or something like that. But, of course, you're going to have a meeting location. You don't need to go to the school. You just need to meet someplace outside. But the meeting location was changed, and this person did not hear the notification. This person was not aware of the change of location, and as I waited alone at the original meeting spot, one of my new classmates, Emily, happened to pass by. So that's a stroke of luck here. The writer was at the original meeting spot, but a classmate just happened to be passing by. And so Emily approached me and led me to the new meeting point. That was a nice thing of Emily to do. Along the way, we struck up a conversation in which we discovered our shared love for hip-hop music. So they started a conversation. They struck up a conversation, and Emily soon introduced me to other classmates, helping me integrate into my new environment. To integrate means two or more things joined together in order to create a whole. So if you integrate into your new environment, it becomes a part of you. You are part of that environment. You no longer feel like an outsider.
好，那我们看看这个课文的情境里面是谁帮助了他呢？他就提到说有一次校外教学期间呢，当时这个集合地点改变，那他没有听到通知，他独自一个人在原本的集合地点嘛，那因为有一个新同学碰巧经过，那就带他去新的集合地点，然后一路上他们有聊彼此爱的兴趣啊，然后后来还把他介绍给其他同学认识，帮助这位作者融入了新的环境。哇，这是很大的改变呢，因为你一直觉得自己是局外人，那突然有一个人伸出援手，把你带入这个环境，让你慢慢熟悉。好，那我们看看我们这个换你写写看的情境里面，那刚刚我们说到说要表达自己的情感啊，那可能你觉得自己可能说错了什么或做错了什么，然后造成一些尴尬的情境，那自己一个人在应付这些情绪是很难以承受的。那我们来看看，也许你可以接着写说，经过一段时间，也许有一位老师注意到你的行为改变，那他很真心的关心你，问你说什么困扰你啊，发生了什么事。那当你在解释的时候，老师也告诉你，安慰你说这些都是生活的一部分啊，他也把自己的生活经验、自己自身经历告诉你，跟你分享，然后试着去理解你、同情你这样子。那这个老师也许鼓励你用什么方式来抒发，可能是写作去抒发，让你可以处理自己的情绪。好，那我们接着请Roger 老师告诉我们，换你写写看，也许可以怎么说。
And here's how you might write this. Over time, one of my teachers, Mrs. Warren, noticed my change in behavior. With genuine concern, she asked me what was bothering me. When I told her, she shared some of her own experiences from her youth, reassuring me that feeling confused and vulnerable was a part of life. She also encouraged me to channel my feelings through writing, which helped me to process my emotions. So again, this is the scenario in which the person is in high school, and the teacher noticed that the new student was not acting in a normal way. This person had a change in behavior, so Mrs. Warren was very concerned about the new student. Hey, what's bothering you? And of course, the new student told the teacher what was happening, and the teacher told the new student about her own experiences, and the teacher reassured that feeling confused and vulnerable and feeling isolated and as though you don't belong is normal. It's a part of life. And she encouraged me to do some writing, to channel my feelings through writing, and that helped me to process my emotions so that I was more emotionally stable.
好，那我们现在看完了课文范例，还有我们这个换你写写看去怎么表达说当时谁伸出援手，如何帮助。那现在我们要来做总结咯，先来看看课文范例它怎么做结语，说明这个事件带来的启发或是影响。
Okay, now we're back to 6th grade and we're talking about Emily the friend. So her kindness taught me that bravery is not just about standing up for yourself, but also about helping others in need. Okay, so Emily was kind, and when you're kind, we say it's kindness. So Emily's act of kindness taught the new student that bravery is not just about standing up, but also about helping others in need. So, of course, you need to stand up for yourself and not be pushed around by others, but also you need to help other people as well. And thanks to her, thanks to Emily, I learned that kindness can overcome social barriers and make everyone feel welcome and understood. So, yes, kindness is the key there. If people are nice to each other, then people will feel more like they belong.
好，那我们来看看课文范例的结尾，他就提到说，那位帮助他融入环境的朋友，他的善良教导我，勇敢不仅是为自己挺身而出，那也要帮助其他需要帮助的人。那因为这个朋友，他学到了善良可以克服社交障碍，让每个人都感受到受欢迎啊，还有被理解。好，那这就是他得到的启发影响。那接着到我们换你写写看的情境里面呢，这位老师的帮助带给他什么影响呢？也许你可以写到说，这位老师的同情还有智慧帮助你过了那个艰难的时期，就像一个明灯一样在指引你，对不对？那他的理解跟支持提醒着说，总是会有善良的人愿意向有困难的人伸出援手的，所以不要害怕，有时候我们也是要懂得自己愿意开口求助，这样你才可以度过那个难关。接着我们请 Roger 老师告诉我们，换你写写看可以怎么写。
And here's how you might write it. Again, we're back in the first year of high school, and we're talking about Mrs. Warren, the teacher. so Mrs. Warren's compassion and wisdom became a guiding light during that difficult time. So Mrs. Warren was compassionate and she was wise. She had that compassion and wisdom, and she was a guiding light. She helped the new student with this difficult time, and her understanding and support reminded me that there are always kind souls or kind people ready to lend a helping hand to those facing difficulties. Sometimes it doesn't feel that way, but when you run across somebody who does support you, when they're compassionate, when they're wise, and they're helpful, and they're kind, then you're reminded that, yes, there are actually nice people out there. Not everybody in the world is rotten to the core.
好，那我们现在练习完写作，那我们要进入第二部分咯，来看看我们的范文 sample essay。Okay, here's our sample essay. The title is A Friend Who Stepped Up for Me. Somebody who supported me and stood up for me. When I was in the 6th grade, I had to change schools and move to a different city due to my father's job. So yes, indeed, my dad got a new job. We had to move. Initially, or at the beginning, yeah, it was quite challenging. It was kind of difficult. I didn't know any of my new classmates, and some of them were unkind. They weren't nice. They were kind of cruel.They were refusing to befriend me. They didn't want to be friends with me. I felt like a complete outsider. I felt like I didn't belong, and this made me experience an overwhelming sense of isolation. So it was overwhelming. I was just controlled by this feeling, and I felt isolated. It was a feeling of isolation or being all by myself.Every day I longed to travel back in time and return to my old school with my former classmates. I really wanted to go back to my old school and be with my old buddies. 好，那这边我看到第一段落有一个补充单字是 befriend， 它是表达说和什么交朋友，对什么友好。那注意一下 be 这个字当字首呢，它就有那种使或是加注在什么上面而对其造成影响的意思。那这时候 befriend 它的 be 表示使嘛，那后面是 friend 朋友，合在一起就变成动词 befriend， 表示与什么为友。那其实这个字也可以表达说在网络社交平台上面加某人好友的意思哦，所以我们补充一下。另外要补充的是 long 在这边是当动词，它是不及物动词，表示说渴望想要。那我们可以用 long to do something 或者是 long for something 来表达渴望做某事，渴望想要某事这样子。
Okay, moving on to the next paragraph, it says, However, one day everything changed during a field trip when the meeting location was altered and I missed hearing the notification. So the meeting place was changed, it was altered, but I didn't know about it. I missed the notification. That just means when somebody notifies you of something, they post a note somewhere or they send out an email. And as I waited alone at the original meeting spot, one of my new classmates, Emily, happened to pass by. Hey, there was Emily, and I was wondering where the other students were. She saw me there, and she came up to me, she approached me, and led me to the new meeting point. And while we were going there along the way, we started a conversation. We struck up a conversation, and we discovered that we shared a love for hip-hop music.And Emily soon introduced me to other classmates who maybe had similar interests, and that was helping me integrate into my new environment. I felt a part of the new environment. I no longer felt like an outsider. Her kindness taught me that bravery is not just about standing up for yourself, but also about helping others in need. So yes, you need to be strong yourself, but you also need to help other people. And thanks to her, I learned that kindness can overcome social barriers. They can get rid of those social barriers or those boundaries or those borders that exist between us. And then everyone can feel welcome and understood, and they're all one big happy family.
好，那在这个段落我们最后补充两个片语，一个是 strike up with， 它可以表达说开始怎么样，建立什么什么。那像我们文中它用到 strike up a conversation 就是开始交谈，那其他还可以用这个 strike up a relationship 就是开始往来， strike up a friendship 就是建立友谊。那另外一个要补充的是 stand up for， 后面可以接人或事物，可以表达说为什么来挺身而出，去捍卫什么或是维护什么。好， 好，那这边 stand up 站起来，那个意象就很明显，就要挺身而出的那种感觉，后面接 for 这样子。好，那我们现在就看完整篇文章咯。
And that brings us to the end of our program for today. It's also the end of the month of January, which means February is just around the corner, and we're all getting ready for Chinese New Year. And hopefully, some of you who are changing schools won't feel isolated like the people in our article today. And we wish you the best of luck in the new year. From all of us here at All+ Interactive English, I'm Roger.
And I'm Hanny.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.